Right, hello, year 10. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about infertility and what we can do about it using science and what we've understood, including our understanding and knowledge of the fertility hormones that you've been learning about, that we've also talked about in previous lessons about contraception. So today, fertility treatment, this is to do with people who are suffering with infertility. So they're unable to get pregnant and have a child, but they want to. Quite a funny clip from Friends. Let's have a listen. It did make me laugh, I must admit. Oh, or not. Will it play? It will. No? Oh, cool.
Guess what? Frank Jr. and Alice got married. Oh my God! Yeah, and they're gonna have a baby. and they want me to grow it for them in my uterus.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Yeah.
You really thinking of having sex with your brother?
Anyway, I think that's enough. But yeah, great. The fact that the term uterus even worked its way into a cult TV show like Friends is good. And they didn't call it womb. They used the correct term. Okay, so yeah, lots of people are unable to get pregnant naturally. And so by gaining our understanding, using science to gain our understanding of these hormones, we're able to then help people and come up with ways in which we can allow them to have a family, which is amazing because 100 years ago, I mean, even less, that was it. If you were infertile, that was it. You were going to remain without a child for the rest of your life, it's quite a big thing. Obviously, there is adoption and things like that, but it's still going to be a psychological barrier for lots of people. So, why would we want to teach you about this? Well, actually, the number of number of students watching this video as part of their learning who were IVF babies themselves, or whose parents had to undergo fertility treatment in order to conceive them, will be higher than you might imagine. So it's now a fairly common thing. You'll find lots and lots of people who were whose parents had to use IVF in order to conceive. So it's now become really quite a mainstream technique that we use in our healthcare system, and lots of people know about it, and so therefore we think it's very important that you learn about it, as well as it being on your exam board, and so may well come up in the exam. Okay, so reasons for infertility, some background information. So in men, okay, you can see there in the diagrams, we've got a couple of different aspects to do with the sperm, which can be affected. So we can have a low sperm count. So basically, in the ejaculate during normal sex, there just aren't enough sperm to swim and make it to the egg in order to fertilize, or by reducing that number, you're vastly reducing the chance, okay, of fertility each month. So it might take a long time for people to get pregnant. Or poor motility. So that's here. This is the sperm lacking the ability to swim, so they don't make it. They don't get to the egg. They don't reach the egg. Remember, they're deposited in the vagina. They then have to swim up through the cervix, into the uterus, then up and to the oviduct, the fallopian tube, to fertilize the egg there. And then also abnormal morphology or shape of the sperm, again, means they may not be able to actually fertilize the egg if they do reach it. So lots of these, as well as infections or disorders which might affect the testes or testosterone levels within the man. Okay, there may also be problems in the woman. So she may not be able to release eggs from the ovaries, okay, called premature ovarian failure. The oviduct might be blocked, okay, by an abnormal growth or something like that. So either one or both are blocked, reducing the ability, the chance of getting pregnant. And then various other disorders which might affect that. So out of these, okay, reasons for infertility, you need to be able to talk about, and you want to remember there's the possibility of a low sperm count, or the sperm aren't able to swim properly or that well. Okay, and in women, the fact that they may not release, okay, they may not actually ovulate, release an egg, or the oviduct might be blocked. Okay, all of the other reasons that we've talked about down here, you can cite, but you don't need to learn them. Okay, we've got a couple of videos here. All right, I've put these links on your the work with the Google Classroom, so you can either click them on the presentation or just use the links. This is a very good one, showing you what takes place during IVF, and this ICSI, which is an evolution of IVF, okay, and the procedure. Yeah. Quickly, I'll summarize the steps involved. So the woman is given fertility drugs, which are hormones, FSH and then LH. Okay, the FSH stimulates lots of eggs to mature inside the ovaries. The LH then will cause those to be released. Now, this is what would naturally happen in the first place here. Where it's not on here, is it? When a woman goes to the doctor and says, we can't get pregnant, they'll be given fertility drugs to just try and improve, in case maybe the ovaries just aren't releasing eggs or something like that. Maybe the FSH levels in the woman are low, or the LH levels are low. So they'll try and artificially just help the cycle to occur naturally, to see whether the woman can get pregnant naturally. If that doesn't take place, then they may well resort to IVF, which stands for in vitro fertilization. In vitro is Latin for in glass, and then fertilization, because initially, when this was carried out, they were doing it in the laboratory, and they felt that was an appropriate term, whereby the fertilization was taking place in a petri dish. Whether that was actually made of glass or plastic, it's just there's no Latin word for plastic because it didn't exist back then. And IVF as a procedure, what they would do is give the woman FSH, okay, to stimulate multiple eggs to mature, okay. They would then artificially, so using a needle, extract those eggs from the ovary of the woman, place them into petri dishes, and then surround them by a male donation of sperm. Okay. Then in the petri dish, which are incubated at 37 degrees, so same temperature as the body, hopefully the sperm would then fertilize the egg to form an embryo and start growing. And as it says in the videos, they'll grow those in the laboratory for about 5 days. They'll then choose the 2 best looking embryos, okay, the healthiest looking embryos, and re-implant them into the woman, who has then also been given other hormones, so estrogen, progesterone, to develop the uterine lining, so that those embryos, when they're deposited back in the uterus, can attach and hopefully develop into successful pregnancies. This ICSI is interesting. This is when the sperm can't do it. They can't fertilize the egg, so they'll extract the egg from the woman, and then they have to take the sperm and they have to physically inject it into the egg using these micro needles. Okay. And it is really, really fascinating. And this now is a really standard procedure, used in lots and lots of labs all over the country. So have a watch of the videos now, and you'll be able to see what I was just explaining. Okay, hopefully you had a look at those, and you can see here, again, you can pause this video and read through the steps, okay, if you'd like, but they're basically what we just talked about. So which hormones are used? Like we said, we've got FSH to stimulate the maturation of several eggs, okay, they're then collected and fertilized in the lab. However, this does have some drawbacks. Okay, so it can give a couple the chance to have a baby of their own. However, the process is not that reliable. Okay, I don't have the current figures, but for a long time, IVF success rates were really quite low. The hormones, taking the hormones, affects the woman. Okay, very much emotionally. It's also physically stressful as well. And then if it doesn't work, okay, after a cycle, it's called a cycle of IVF. If the embryo doesn't take or she doesn't get pregnant, it can be very, very, very disappointing, very emotionally stressful for the couple, especially the woman. Okay. On the other hand, in order to try and increase the success rates, okay, they don't just reimplant. They don't just implant one embryo. They usually implant two, possibly three, depending on the quality of the embryos. And if they all take, then you've got an increased chance of this leading to a multiple birth. Okay, so having twins, they would be non-identical. Okay, but every pregnancy with twins carries an increased risk both to baby and mother. Okay, so hopefully with my short explanation and introduction and the videos that you were able to watch, you will be able to have a go at the two worksheets. The first one I'd like you to do is a bit of reading, bit of literacy activity. Okay, I want you to read each of the bullet points and then highlight them depending on whether they are stating just a fact, whether they are a benefit, or whether they are a drawback. Okay, so you just need to take your cursor, highlight that, and then select the color, the correct color that you think it associates with. The second one, I'd like you to really try and have a go at answering these in your own words, okay, to see whether you've picked out some of the main points from the lesson. All right, I hope you find this interesting and you've enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon, no doubt. Bye.